Hey Jackie, just doing a sound check.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing good, thank you.
Great.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, he's gonna lose his spot. Uh-oh.
That's right.
You wanna go first?
I can, yeah,
Okay,
we're here and I can go ahead and.
cause you reached out to me.
How are you? Doing good. You need any water?
I'm good.
See, I didn't. I found this in my,
Oh, you got it?
I stole up there already.
in my inbox.
Send it for us.
In,
Rose Oaks.
Rose Oaks?
Rose Oaks, yeah.
I have not.
Is this the final version that they're doing?
Versus the one that you guys saw at your meeting.
Gotcha.
Oh, no problem. We were able to make some changes and include it.
Conditions.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
All right, it is 4 o'clock. We'll go ahead and get started.
Not feeling well.
There is no public comments that have been presented. Before we jump to Office OSBO, we do want to have a slight change to the agenda. And Miss Emily Thorne from, did I write? Emily Thorne? Emily Luther, my bad,
No problem.
with Parker Poe is gonna briefly go over the final version of the proposed penny language that's up for final reading tomorrow. So Miss Emily, the floor is yours.
Thank you, and thank you for inviting us back. I will share this red line with you by email so that the rest of the members can have it. But I will just briefly talk through the changes that are on the final version for council adoption tomorrow versus the version that TPAC adopted to recommend out to the transportation ad hoc. So a lot of these changes came from the discussion that the ad hoc committee had at its meeting that were had by council at its work session on the 25th, and then again, a follow-up ad hoc meeting following that work session. And you'll see that there are very little substantive changes to the final version. There was just a couple of requests from council members to either clarify or expand on some of the concepts that the TPAC had included in the principles. The first is in the overall general conditions. The one specifically that county council had requested that there be a minimum of $20 million worth of funding in each district. They wanted to add to that there be a principle of general equity of the new penny across the county. So that's now kind of an expansion of that minimum $20 million spending, that there be an eye towards equitable funding across the county. The next one you see will be in the overall impact and cost ratio of the scoring system. Specifically, there was a scoring, I guess, kind of bump if a road that was being improved or built or an intersection was at a sole means of ingress and egress. There was an additional kind of bump, one to a lesser degree, of scoring if a road that was being improved served as a primary means, not necessarily the sole, but one of the primary roadways for a neighborhood or community. So that was an additional scoring criteria under the overall cost and impact scoring. The next one, similar to that, was an addition of a scoring criteria under the safety category. If the road was the primary means, not just the sole, there was an additional 5-point bump for that. So those were some additions, again, that council discussed at those meetings. Next, the next change falls in the project category section. Council just wanted to be sure that both green belts and greenways were included in the projects that could be funded. So there was an addition of greenways in addition to green belts in the project descriptions. And then last changes where there was some additional expansion of the management of the New Penny, a very clear directive that the transportation had the primary responsibility to manage the projects. That was in E, management of the New Penny. And then also an expansion of the New Penny role of TPAC. It says that the TPAC may seek and receive community input with respect to the implementation. So an invitation to the public to share their thoughts with the TPAC as we move forward with the New Penny. And then last, the additional changes come under Exhibit B. A little bit of confirming language with respect to the Comet's use of its funds. Wanted to make clear that the Comet would be using any penny funds it received, not necessarily for expansion, but also for support of the current operations of the Comet. And then again, an expansion or clarification of what the funds would be used for some of its capital projects, the multimodal facility particularly. And then last, Exhibit C is really reflecting what council heard from TPAC with respect to transitioning the funds allocated to each of the categories. They increased the community investment projects and decreased the county advancement projects. That was a recommendation that you had made out to them, and they listened and they agreed, and so they modified it. They did add some additional funds for the Comet, and then the corresponding amount was taken from the community investment. So now the final percentages are 48% for community investment, 30% for county advancement, and then 22% for the Comet. So again, minimal changes. The county really just was taking what TPAC had given it and making some additional kind of clarifications and expansions of some of the ideas that you had already shared with them. So appreciate TPAC helping us get to this final version.
Well, we appreciate y'all and everything that you guys did to help us get to this. Is there any questions for Ms. Luther? All right, thank you.
Thank
got
you.
one thing for you.
Okay.
Next, we'll jump down to Office of Small Business Opportunities. And so I've been saying her name wrong all this time. I've been calling her Lachey, but her actual name is LaSasha.
Yes.
So with OSBO, Miss LaSasha Breland.
All right, so for as far as SLBEs from OSBO, we are currently at 6 architectural and engineering, 57 construction, 57 non-professional services, 71 professional services, and 5 wholesale, which puts us at 198 SLBEs to date. Excuse me. We also have 2 pending applications out there. As far as projects goes, OSBO set a 9% goal on the Blackwood Road widening at Blackwood IP project. The upcoming event that we have will be held on August 22nd from 12 to 1:30. This is another one of our virtual lunch and learn series, and it's titled Unlocking Opportunities, Effective Networking Strategies to Build, Grow, and Scale Your Business. This will be hosted on Zoom. And this event will highlight some of the following topics for business owners: how to build, target, identify relationships for business growth, and how to navigate various network settings. We'll also talk about how to be effective with your follow-up and the common challenges with intentional networking. You can register via our website, richlandcountysc.gov. And as far as reminders for the OSBO office, we want to remind everyone that we serve as a great resource to the small business community. And we are currently seeking small businesses that may qualify for our SLBE certification. Once they believe that they qualify, they can reach out to us and we'll set up an appointment to talk about the next steps. And if you all know any small businesses, please refer them to us. Thank you so much. Any questions?
Any questions for OSBO? Also, shout out to Miss Pam Green, who is no longer the interim So congratulations to her being the head honcho down there in Osbo. I told you I'd get you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, John Black, for putting that out there. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Lashay. And I did it again. Lastasha, sorry.
Lastasha.
And look, I even wrote it, I literally wrote it down, but I got Lashay stuck in my head. All right, thank you. We're gonna move right along
Okay.
to Miss Jackie Bowers with a comment. You're muted, Jackie.
I'm sorry. Good afternoon. So I will start my report with item A, which is the bus stop amenities report that that was submitted by Davis and Floyd. So as I reported last month, we temporarily suspended all of the projects for the installation of bus shelters and benches because we're presently having our routes assessed for on-time performance. So the only project that we're continuing is the Millens Tech Northeast location. That project was so close to being completed as far as the shelter that we decided to just continue with that, and it near completion. The next part of my report will be the ridership. So are there any questions on the bus stop amenities before I go to the ridership? If not, so the ridership report is, we transported a total of 132,782 riders for the month of June of this year. And June of last year, it was 127,984. So that was an increase of 3.61% compared to June of last year. Last month, or May 2024, the ridership total was 145,293, and that gave us a decrease of 8.61% compared to May. The next page is our average daily ridership report, and it merely shows the total for each month for the year 2023. And also it shows the totals for each month of this year up through June. And also that report shows the average daily ridership. So next we'll have the USC ridership numbers. We transported 906 total passengers for June of 2024. That was a decrease of 429 compared to May of 2024. And also for USC student orientation, we're providing that service as well. And we transported 17,819 students between June the 3rd and June the 27th. And that project is still ongoing. So the next page, which is item C, that's our financial report. And then item D is our DBE participation report. Are there any questions on any of those areas? If not,
Questions online? I have none online either.
Mhm. If not, that concludes my report.
All right, thank you, Miss Jackie.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, get her name right. Next, we'll move along to Mr. Maloney for the transportation update.
Yes, sir. We've got our monthly report showing we just crossed total expenses of around 600 million, 57,562 for the July report on our financial expenses from the penny. That includes the roadway projects, the greenway ped bike projects, the common expenditures, and any other reserves that are out there. So that's where we are to date. If you have any questions on updates, financial, it's the first page in the packet for our update, and we'll be happy to answer those for you. The remaining pages go through the project cut sheets, which show various schedules and project locations. I'll highlight some of those projects for the report. We've got projects in design. Blythewood area improvements is a project where we have McNulty and Creech being designed. We're looking at getting we have hired the right-of-way specialist for that project, and they're working on the Creech project as far as establishing a new right-of-way from what is a stub road of Creech coming off of Blythewood Road by a couple of hotels there. And then it's going to extend all the way around to Main Street. So that is we call it Greenfield Road Development. And then McNulty, which is maintained by the county from Blythewood Road past the McDonald's area and another hotel goes to Boney Road, that's county maintained. So all those projects I just mentioned, including putting a signal at Blythewood Road that's not currently there, will be a county project with an encroachment permit for that signal reviewed by SCDOT. Then we have McNulty from Boney Road to Main Street, which is SCDOT maintained, and that'll be a separate project they are reviewing. And that's where we're looking for an ATP for them on that to proceed with any right-of-way acquisition needs. The project on McNulty, if you were to drive down it today, is a kind of a rural road, meaning it doesn't have curb and gutter and sidewalks. And when we're done, it will. Urbanized. The Broad River Road corridor NIP is a safety project, and we are submitted our responses back in April and awaiting the approval to get a right away there on Broad River Road. Clemson Road at Sparkleberry. We've got some comments from them just recently that we'll be taking back to complete with our OET. And then that'll be going to our right-of-way acquisition after that's approved. Decker Woodfield NIP includes Brookfield Sidewalk and Hunt Club Road. Once we get the Hunt Club Road approval, we will put both Hunt Club and Brookfield Road out for bid. Lower Richland Boulevard, we submitted our responses in April, and we'll be getting, we're waiting those comments there. We did get a review sheet on that to show to our OET to get their responses back on those for right away. And then Polo Road widening, same thing. We submitted our plans in April, and we provided a response on our pavement design in late April and awaiting the approval to acquire right away. 3 greenways, we just met with city staff. We have a coordination meeting with them monthly on the Crane Creek, Gills Creek, and Rocky Branch greenways. There's some takeaways from parties at the city and the county to complete, as well as our OETs to start on some of the property issues on Gills Creek and Smith Rocky Branch. All property owners have been notified and appraisals been started on all the properties needed for a greenway easement. We received our comments from Norfolk Southern Railroad, which the path will travel underneath. And then we're getting a CSX agreement going that will follow with NS Norfolk Southern's comments. As far as projects and right-of-way acquisition, Rocky Branch is one. Pineview Road is in acquisition, as well as Broad River Road. That project, we've had over 50 properties accepted and over 20 paid. We have a larger property that we'll be bringing to Administrator Brown shortly. That will be something we need to acquire, as well as we're putting together a package of a few properties ready to go to condemnation. On dirt roads, we have several projects in right of way. So it's a fairly lengthy list of about 20 projects that are in District 2, 9, and 10, with the majority in District 10. We did do, when you talk about equity, the current chapter 21 of the county ordinances for the roads does have that built in as far as how much inventory of dirt roads do you have in the council district to ensure that we're kind of attacking those as based on the inventory they have. The biggest inventory is in District 10. So we found that by checking that, we were behind on that area, and we're going to be doing over 5.22 miles in this package. So those projects are, we have right-of-way specialists visiting them. We'll definitely hear some feedback from that as that occurs. And we also have 0.4 miles in District 9 and 1.7 miles in District 2. And that will solidify our pro rata, as it's called, or equity based on inventory for dirt roads. So that'll be, we'll see coming up in the fall of 24 through the summer of 25 for those projects to occur. Resurfacing also has a list that we've prepared, and we're going to get both the dirt road and the resurfacing package on the website. The upcoming package is resurfacing package U. It's quite a few, it's fairly extensive with quite a few roads. In council districts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So there's a lot of roads that came up with the needs with PCIs or pavement condition indexes that were very poor, that were in line for this next level. Projects that are in bidding, we have Atlas Road that was just recently bid out, and it'll be going to Transportation Ad Hoc Committee this month. I believe that's on the 23rd. And then the late August council meeting. So we're prepared to await the next council meeting on that. We checked with the start time of the contractor, which is planned to be later in September. So that'll work fine to meet with that kind of award. Bids came in with 2 bidders in close proximity to one another and under the estimated budget by a considerable amount. So it turned out very well. Percival Sidewalk is at procurement and ready for release. Likely award date would be in October. Projects that are in construction, we have Dirt Road Package O, which is Howard Kugler Road in District 1, Jackson Street in District 10, Nathan Ridge Lane, which is in District 10, and Sarah Matthews Road, which is in District 7. Those projects are being graded with utility adjustments occurring and drainage systems being added. New ditches are being put in where there weren't any. And those projects will be paved later this year. Alpine Sidewalk and resurfacing. The sidewalk is up, construction is complete. Restoration around the sidewalk is underway, and resurfacing is to occur this month. I believe it's around the 25th of July when they're mobilized for that. Blythewood Road widening has the south side shared use path installed. Drainage systems are being completed on the north side. And we had a utility installation where it was quiet up there while AT&T was splicing fiber optic cables, and that's now complete or been complete for a couple of weeks with the contractor back in full swing on the project. Has a completion date of July of next year. Sunset Drive sidewalk is underway. Clearing is complete, and we're reopening the road today for about a month. It had a planned 6-month road closure because of the tight corridor, but the contractor looked at it and was found that there's various stages where they can reopen the road. We understand there's challenges with that, particularly for commuters, but for the neighborhood, it's a benefit for them to be able to utilize that corridor when we're not needing it to be closed. So that will be open for 30 days until this time in August, and reclosed for beginning the water main and construction and shoring for that. Then we recently had a list of recently completed projects, including the Screaming Eagle Percival intersection, the Garner's Ferry Road Harmon intersection, and the Bull Street and Elmwood intersection. Are there any questions?
Any questions for Director Maloney?
Chairman Black, I don't have a question. I just want to give a praise report to Public Works about the great work that they're putting into improving their reports, the ease of reading it from where we started to where we are now, and breaking it down into categories from design to construction and the updates. It's just awesome. I'm just really impressed on how I continue to see the improvement on them putting in the work. Certainly, we know you're physically out there doing the work, but to put the work into the report to make it easy for some that may be layman's and not understanding all the professional terms that you'll use to put in, and the work that you put in to it. The report is just awesome. Just wanted to give thumbs up.
Thank you. And to piggyback on that, I agree. You know, it was if you look at everything that the information that you provide, you know, especially on the website, you know, anybody that tries to say they can't find information or it's not being shared or it's not available, they obviously are not going to the website, because all this information is on there. And it's like, I think the county has done an outstanding job of revitalizing the website to make it as transparent as it can be. And, you know, with our meetings, the public has the opportunity for input. Again, going to the website and everything, you know, if you have questions, if it's not there, the resources are available to get the answers that you want. So I was kind of disappointed at the public hearing last week when there were some comments made about the information is not available and they didn't know and all that stuff. And it's like, it's just not true. Those of us that have volunteered and commit our time for this process. And, you know, we see the hard work that the county does. So, you know, it is much appreciated.
Well, if it wasn't for you all and you know, Ms. Prelo in particular, you know, telling us what you want to see and how you want, you know, you would, you know, best take in the information. You know, that's the changes we've been making. So it's just response to your good input. So thank you for that.
And I guess, is there any more questions or? Yes, sir.
I spoke with my mayor prior to coming here, and I guess I'm tasked to ask this question. In our area, I went through the document there very thoroughly, and I didn't see any upfit for our community. So are you complete, is the list completed for the following bond?
Oh, I'm sorry, which neighborhood?
The list, as far as your projects, have they all been finalized for the coming year?
For the resurfacing?
Or anything?
Anything?
You're in Eastover?
Yes.
Eastover? He's talking about Eastover.
What projects pertaining now, Director?
Yeah.
Yeah, so dirt road paving is primarily in District 10. As we're reporting, it's like 5.2 miles of it. And we're taking them, you know, which roads were, you know, based on their ranking in District 10. So District 10 has quite a few roads and they're ranked based on a number of things. But the main thing is, you know, how many people live on the road in a given unit distance or the cost of putting in the road. And that's how they're ranked. And then they get all the way down to where, you know, you're below what's available for funding. And that list continues. And so when we talk about the new penny, for instance, it would just continue on that list. But
Well, then what incentive would we have to vote for the new penny?
that just keeps working at them. So.
I mean, all of us in here vehemently against being taxed without representation, so apparently that's what we get in our area. At least in the, I
Yeah.
submitted 17 concerns last, sorry, I was out of town last meeting, but prior to that, I submitted 17 concerns. And from what I'm hearing, from what I read, I haven't seen any of those concerns
Okay.
addressed.
We'll take that up. It doesn't appear that we have, so I will take that up.
My constituents are, again, they are concerned about voting again in favor of something that they are not getting any benefit from. And I think you're gonna have a difficult time in the Low Richland area, in our area anyway, getting support for that new penny.
I guess what I say too is, I mean, with the current penny and what we're doing, we have, I mean, the largest number of road widenings are in District 10, for instance. And so, when I mentioned we're in right away on Pineview Road widening, and I know that, a lot of people are looking for things beyond that or further east, as far as the road widenings that were identified, Bluff Road, Shop Road, Atlas Road out to bid, and Pineview there, and then Lower Richland Boulevard. Those were as far east as the road widenings went. Then further out, just completing Garner's Ferry and Harmon intersection was about, as far out as intersections went in the current penny. Couldn't help with what the planning was at the time on that, but all the other roads are either resurfacing or pavement of dirt roads, which is the largest inventory out there.
I guess another thing, we were asking, and we have Ben Brockland and a couple of streets down Eastover that, really need sidewalks. And again, we were asking, I was asked, what metric you using to identify a proposal project now?
If I can interject just one thing. Now, this has been a process that began back in October,
Yes.
maybe, when Stantec started working on the needs assessment and where they reached out to all the municipalities. And so if like for Eastover and Arcadia Lakes, the city of Columbia, Blythewood, Irmo, Forest Acres, they were all reached out and they were all asked for their input on the needs assessment for roads and like you mentioned sidewalks and stuff like that. Each of these municipalities had the opportunity to submit their requests for this, as well as the citizen input that we had in every single district where citizens had the opportunity to come up and give what they wanted to see as well. And all that information was combined and presented. So I don't think it's a matter of particularly Arcadia Lakes not being involved or whatever, because their input that was submitted was just as important for them as it was for the city of Columbia.
Yeah, okay, but I'm still having a hard time. When I was in pharmacy school, we had a formula for geriatrics, pediatrics, and other individual. Here we have one formula and it doesn't all fit, so.
And there is language in the ordinance that specifically mandates a minimum of $20 million in projects in each district. So, I mean, that's not saying that there will only be $20 million threshold in each district. It's saying there will be a minimum of 20 million spent in each council district as well.
Yeah.
And there was apparently some confusion about that where people were thinking that, oh, we're only getting 20. No, it was like the minimum was 20 million per district. So, and as things come up, there's still options in there where it's not 100% funded out because we don't know what's gonna happen in 5, 10, 15 years from now. You know, to have those resources available long-term for anything that may come up.
From Hopkins to Gadsden to Eastover, you know, something we didn't see in the original penny were, you know, specific improvements that far east, but what I did see in the new needs analysis that was conducted is, you know, intersections that were needed. We took in information about sidewalks and, you know, even, you know, paving roads or parts of roads that come into DOT roads. So those are all in the needs assessment, you know, whether their sidewalks are programmatic, and you asked how they would be brought up. And so we have that scoring system to utilize. But, you know, as far as did we get any, we do have notes on requests for sidewalks that came up when we met at the Eastover Park, you know, all the way to the Forest Acre meeting and by Valentine meeting. So there's quite a list of those needs. As a public works director, I also get needs on sidewalks, and, you know, sometimes we have a hard time doing them because even though we do hear, you know, that we need sidewalks, the actual requests that come in, there were only 2 last year that were requested, and Public Works will put those forward and go to CTC you know, out of Public Works for those funds, but we didn't have, like, there's not a backlog of that right now. We did get some public input on the needs assessment, though. That would be strong candidates to be done.
Anybody have anything else? In other business, our next scheduled meeting will be August 19th. And for those interested, tomorrow night will be the 3rd reading for the new penny ordinance. And then the only other thing I want to bring up is we need to start planning for our State of the Penny. Last year it was November 1st, 2nd, but I think it's time that we plant that seed. I've kind of talked about it off and on with some of the county officials, but I think it's time that we go ahead and formally start the process of deciding when we should have it, if we're gonna do it similar to last year or not. Miss Eva, you have a question, your hand up?
Yeah, I did, and I didn't get it in quick enough before you went on. By all due respect, Chairman Black, could you and I meet with the representative of Eastover? I know they're newly appointed to the committee, but I'd like for us to get together as soon as possible and perhaps meet to further discuss some of the concerns and address some of the concerns, if by all due respect. That was my request to you.
Yeah, we can do that. Probably a good idea to have Director Maloney present as well.
Yes, and certainly with Director Maloney. That would have been
Okay,
the
yeah.
request.
We
Yes,
can
okay.
definitely set something up.
Very good.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody have anything else? The time is now 4:37 and we are officially adjourned. Have a good afternoon, y'all.